Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 114 of Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, brought to you by Solozo. And today's the conclusion of this 5-part series that's been amazing with Neil Twa. And we're super pumped about this, Neil, because this is the platinum principle that we're going to talk about today.
Principle. Yeah, 114. Boy, we've been crushing it this week, haven't we?
I know. And
I went back and listened to all of them.
Did you really? Oh, boy.
Yeah. I went back at 2x speed.
Yep.
Go to the gym and just pound it out and listen to all these episods. It was good.
That's impressive because most people tell me they can't listen at 2x. In fact, they try to slow it down, but there's no.
Well, I wasn't listening to myself. I was definitely listening to you.
Yeah.
Sound like a chipmunk when you run me at that level.
Yeah. I'm actually a fan of 2x too. I figured out that I like it. I just get
2x is the new 10x.
Yes.
I want 2x my life.
Yeah, exactly.
We're the 10xers. I'm 2x in it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have to listen to these again because there's so much in them. I mean, you brought up so much new terminology. I mean, we were talking in the green room before this, but Chris and I went through all of our listings last night. We were slacking back and forth, just like which ones. We were looking up the item type keywords for all the different nodes that our products were in. And I've got some questions real quick about this because number one, I gave the story of this product that I'm relaunching that basically is like, after going through all you talked about, this is like, I'm married to it. It's all the wrong things. It's too low priced, but I love it and I want to get going. But I went back through and it's super competitive niche. And I found my item type keyword. It was not written that way in my listing. And I went and looked at all my competitors. I've got competitors with 60, 70, 90,000 reviews on their products. It's a super competitive area. None of them have that item type keyword in their listing. And I'm like, could you see a bump just because of that, changing that?
Yep.
It's incredible. I'm so excited about.
See, that's one of the things we'll go into for a second. Here as we get through let's talk about those mechanics real quick, because really today's episode is about business. But I want to answer those questions because they're a little more mechanical in nature. Mm-hmm. And staying on that topic, we're literally releasing our seeds update in 6-leaf, and it's going to help answer the question, which node for my competition and product should I actually choose or adjust on existing products? Because there may be 3 or 4, and it's like, how do I apply this? And Chris, you'd asked the other day, how do I, when we were giving the example between automotive and baby products, and we had that crossover at the niche or the node level for the baby mirror, how was I supposed to choose which one? And here's how that works. So if you go in Phoenix and you pull this up and you find your products and you choose those ones that are your competitors and you put them all in seeds, all of a sudden you see them in one place. And you see them by their profitability matrix, green, yellow, and red lights. And then you can actually see them by their niche, node, and node level. And of course, very importantly, what their sales are and how that translates into node. And at that moment, you now get at a glance look at the data, which wouldn't make any sense unless you applied last episode's podcast to that data. And then all of a sudden, it's going to unlock because you're going to see those competitors and their sales and reviews and current sales volumes versus yours. And you're going to see the trends in, say, which node they're in and which particular keyword they focused in, their super keyword versus yours. And all of a sudden, you should recognize the aha moment as you see that data lined up right in front of you. And it will make more sense where to go.
I was kind of feeling
I'm
that.
definitely checking that out.
Yeah. And I was kind of I had that aha moment when I was looking through this. Because what's interesting is my node is literally the name of the product. Like there's no way you could not go. You can't go in that node,
right?
But the super keyword is like a not normal way of saying it. It's like
interesting. So it's like Coke or Pepsi or pop or soda.
Yeah, and it's like they're out of order. It's like they're in the wrong order of how it would flow in a sentence. So I went through everybody. Yeah. Nobody has it. So that's my second question. Yep. It has to be in that order, right?
Added in that order into your search terms. And why is that important to understand? While we don't logically understand what's occurring there, what you're not realizing is that's the key word that people are using to search for that product. It may not make sense to you, but that's how they're logically thinking about it.
It's crazy.
So it's the difference again between Coke and pop or soda and, whatever you call it. There's different slang terminology, cultural locations in the States. People use different backgrounds and language of familia. And because of that, the engine is literally just telling you the data. Remember, we're not smart enough to tell it what it wants. And we try to do that so much, right? I have a tennis racket. Well, it must be tennis racket for everybody. Well, not exactly. Right.
It is bizarre. And not one competitor has it in the right order. I went through 2 pages of results.
Which means that the latent semantic search engine, let's catch that real quick. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but I wanted to catch that one phrase right there for a second, because it means that you should understand what the engine's actually doing with that phrasing, the latent semantic search engine. We talked a little bit about that yesterday in terms of language and phrasing and keywords. And then, of course, what it does is it builds a keyword taxonomy. I know that's a big, fun word, but go Google it. Or a part of the filing system in which your product lives within this taxonomy. We've seen it as kind of a word cloud, maybe another way to say it, around your product and the top words that are being used. You've seen word clouds on the internet. Well, a search engine with a latent semantic background uses this bit of taxonomy for your product, and then it kind of prioritizes the keywords based on relevancy to your product and your listing for the item type keyword that you've chosen, and then determines your relevancy and then expands your taxonomy into multiple keyword sets of broad, phrase, and exact, which I touched a little bit on yesterday.
Yeah. And in mine, I had quite a bit of products actually that were in the wrong node. So I opened up a case and did all that, like put them in the right node, and all of them got accepted and they moved them to the right node except one. And that one ASIN actually is in 2 nodes. It has 2 nodes with it.
Is it a crossover like between 2 different niches to the degree?
It is.
That's why.
Okay.
Yeah. Not abnormal.
Do you put both super keywords in your listing then?
Maybe. Well, you can.
Yeah.
And when putting that super keyword, there's a section in.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there he goes again.
Chris is frozen up.
He can hear us. I know he can. Should we say something? Oh, there he is.
Yep, he's coming in.
I knew I was gonna miss. Okay, I'll go fast. There's in the vital information area. There's an area that says item type form. It doesn't say item type keyword. Is that the same language?
In essence, same language.
Okay.
As long as it, again, typing it and making it hyper relevant to your product is more important, right?
So that's what I did. I went in and I changed every type form with the same node.
Yeah, because if you back out of it, again, at the very keep it simple, stupid level, when you go in and type the keyword for your product that's most relevant to your product, of course, the taxonomy of that keyword and highest relevancy and most search is showing up right under the dropdown. We've all kind of known that as Amazon sellers, right? But did you ever understand how it actually tied backwards through the engine down to your listing? This is putting those 2 things together.
Cool.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I got one more question on this.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna hit our main topic. I swear this is so fun.
Wait, there's more.
There is more. I'm learning so much. Okay, another product of mine. This is a product that's fairly new of mine. I've just been working on the listing the last couple of months. And there's no node that's really specific to this actual product. It's kind of general. I don't know how to say the best. Like, let's say the product's a jump rope and my product is like a replacement piece. So, but the node is jump rope, but it's not really the replacement piece. Okay. I don't know if this makes sense. I'm not using a bad analogy. Okay. So the item type keyword for the node is not very relevant to the product. Like, it's kind of actually weird to put it in there. Okay. But there's no node for this product that I can find that's specific. Do you still put it in there? Do you think that search volume is the right?
See, there's where you're going to have a little bit of difference in kind of, it's a little backwards, because you would typically think of the product forwards and down into the node versus I have a product and now I'm trying to figure out what the node is for it.
Right.
Because it's a reverse exercise. But to basically answer your question is you're going to look for the node that may be the most relevant to that product, kind of more specific. Because again, it's all about relevancy. So if there isn't a node that matches exactly, what you need to do is think, is there a customer or avatar that would see this product within that node? And if yes, then I should align my listing with that expectation for this product. Because remember, jump ropes or those types of products, or any product, frankly, can have multiple use formats for the customer who wants to use them. They may seem intuitive that everybody is using the power washer for cars. But some people are using power washers for their house, not their cars. Some are using it both. Some of them are cleaning their sidewalks.
Right. So that was my issue, because this is a product that has multiple uses, but I saw that there was a niche where nobody was serving that niche. Like nobody was saying pressure washing for houses.
The tip is to try to go into that and determine, do more people power wash their car, the sidewalk, or the house? Who's buying the power washer for one of those activities the most versus the other, and then go after that niche of people who are just buying the power washer to clean their house, or those who are just buying it to clean their car. Make that the secondary. And then the tertiary at this point would be, I'm doing it to clean my sidewalk. You see, you wouldn't target the sidewalk because you wanted it to be the sidewalk. What you would look at the data and say is, well, everyone's buying it for the car, but they're also using it against their house and the sidewalk. You see where this goes?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, this is why I think this is cool, because this is almost the flip of how most people are coached in this. Because a lot of times you're trying to figure out what keywords are you wanting to go after. So everyone's doing all this search volume research, and they say, like, oh, this is a longer tail keyword. I could rank quickly for this with this product here. This is where the competition is, most optimal for me to get in. But this is the opposite of that. This is like using, like, maybe that doesn't work as well as trying to figure out, hey,
all things to all people. You go in reverse with that. You typically are coming from a tool set mentality of tracking the keywords to track the maximum amount for me. That's a self-driven, self-serving interest. Look at this. I'm going from the customer angle and saying, what does the customer ultimately want? How many of those customers want this? And then I'm going to get a product in front of the customers that want that for the purpose in which they're going to use it. Double the understanding of your customer, and you will double your revenues. Right?
Cool.
So you got to go out, and that's a brand building exercise. And why does that sound different? Because not as many people have been talking as long as we have about building brands on Amazon. It's only in the last year or two where you hear more of a concerted effort for anybody to speak about this in its certain terms. But we've been talking about this for many, 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 many years. Build a brand, right? Build a brand with intrinsic value, which means what is good about the brand and what is good about brands that you have and you like. It's because you feel like they understand you, you have an emotional attachment. Their products just fulfill that need, desire, and attractiveness of whatever it is you wanted it to do, to accomplish for you. Gain weight, lose weight, jump higher, run faster, throw farther. It was meeting a purpose, and you got an emotional attachment to that brand. Those customers understand the brands, and the brands spent time understanding the customers. And that's a big difference. Okay, I don't care about keywords in this stuff just yet. I want to find a product that people are desperate about, that they have solutions that they need to solve. And then I will figure out the best keywords that approach that power washer at the car, house, and sidewalk level. And now I will go in and dominate that. Why? Because I would also create a product that only power washes houses. And then I'd create a product that power washes sidewalks. And I'd have 3 products in the niche targeting the avatars. And from that point on, I'm going to shut up because you have to pay for the rest of it. Sorry.
And, I think you're hitting on it. I mean, that you're opening our eyes to a little bit of a different way of thinking. And that's
absolutely,
that's how you keep growing in your business is opening up to new ideas and new concepts. This is cool. So
absolutely.
Platinum principle.
Woo. All right.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so platinum in terms, let's go with the high level real quick. I touched a little bit on this in earlier episodes. If you're following along, this will sound familiar. For those of you who are just catching up, I would encourage you to go back and listen to the other podcasts. But for now, here's the quick summary. When you build a brand-driven e-commerce business of any kind, if you choose to use Amazon as your first go-to-market channel, building that business with the end in mind is very important, okay? Because they are, again, worth more in the end when you sell them than any time during the business building phase. And if you're going to spend time, energy, money, and effort building these businesses, you should really be doing it as a legacy or long-term business strategy with a potential exit in mind, right? That's a big glory thing, but it's actually not that unrealistic for most people to achieve when they build it right. And it can be life-changing, right? Because again, not every Amazon seller right now has their business set up correctly. We've talked about that before, right? I mean, down into the business level. How do they actually structure, manage, account for finances, and truly understand their numbers in their business? Are they personally exposed? Are they paying self-employment taxes? Are their accounts commingled? Could they eventually shut one and all of them down? Is your account even set up properly? And most importantly, is your business a hobby? If you're considering your business as a hobby, this should help you today understand why this could be life-changing for you if you change that mindset, because a lot of it has to do with mindset. Most people don't consider the aspect of what we're talking about today until they're trying to succeed that business to someone else, which is called succession, whether that's inheritance and they want to hand it off to kids, family members, wives, spouses, other significant others, that is an inheritance, or they want to transfer it to ownership to someone else, or just continuity of business, which is a word literally meaning operating your business in perpetuity past your life or past the lives of those involved in it. Most people don't consider those things, all right, until it's too late. They don't consider things as simple as bookkeeping and financial structures and taxes and profitability, all things that I'm saying you've heard of, but may not have applied them effectively to your business, right? So it's important to also understand the other components of this business model. Operations, how do I actually create an operation that runs, can even run without me with some passive or automated components. Multiple incomes of streams from different platforms. Once I validate it on Amazon, I should take it out to eBay and Walmart and other channels, maybe Etsy if appropriate. Adding additional sales channels outside marketplaces like a Shopify store, retail, online, getting influencers and building a bigger brand portfolio. And of course, gaining something of even bigger intrinsic value, which is the customer lists and the data. If you've been selling around Amazon for a while, you know that's been a challenge. But with brands, they're starting to open up that trust factor a lot more. Two areas they're doing it are email, in which they're now allowing vendors and soon to be seller accounts the ability to email their customers on broadcast format. This has been tested in beta. It's going to be released soon. Additional product tracking as data and analytics on their PPC campaigns are being unlocked at beta level, and even product targeting. So you could take sponsored videos and target them straight into your competition's listing, which is extremely powerful, right? So you need to know in advance, so this is a little bit of what we were talking about, what the buyers are looking for. Like, this is an inverse relationship. We just discussed this. Build your business to meet their expectations, not yours. And then stack insane value in your business, so they start to love and fall in love with your products and your business. And then you get a big line of buyers who are going to continually come back to this business, and also set yourself up for buyers who will come to your door with cash in hand to buy these businesses that are worth something. And of course, make more money at the exit. That's what we define as the platinum principle. And in essence, your exit strategy is your business strategy. Okay. So let's break this down a little bit more. In the first videos we went through, in the first podcast we went through the urban mining hack. We talked about never-ending list of great product ideas, where most list. We talked about running that by the numbers financial analysis with more product opportunities, more profit, more trends, more customer segmentation to know our numbers correctly, so we could know a profitable product opportunity for our brand. To see products in terms of similarity and differentiation, and to improve the effortless launches for faster ranking, which is something we talked about a little bit yesterday and touched on again today. And of course, Amazon's super keywords to achieve that maximum ranking in the filing system known as the A9 engine. And of course, dominating a node by launching max relevant products, which we just covered with you, Dustin. So now that you have a big supply of ideas this week, or you've been modifying your products or going through this process like Chris was doing and analyzing your numbers, you're now creating and innovating an advantage against the other products and brands in the marketplace while getting down into some of the listings and ITKs. You're now getting your position in a business to become more sales, but more profitable. Okay, because some of those will add profitability depending upon how you structure your next launch, your product stack. Stuff we talked about this week, Dustin, and how we were going to arrange some of those products for higher affinity, higher profit margins, and gaining literally a better presentation of what the future opportunities of this business model will be, not just running it now, but what is your next steps for this. It will ultimately help you set up success greater than any other combination of things that you're doing. So most untrained sellers start on Amazon by just setting up their account, flipping products, and go. They are just going for profit, self-interest, self-serving. That is not what we're talking about this week. I hope you're getting that out of all of this. We are talking about focusing on the customer. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to focus on doubling our understanding, and then we're going to apply products that meet their needs. And we're going to see a whole different response to our products and brands in the marketplace, from our ranking to our ACoS to our brand affinity to our ability to launch more products more quickly in our brands. So if you don't set it up correctly, I don't want you guys to make that mistake as you talk and we listen about what's going on this week and the way we're setting it up, right? So what are the opportunities of an exit? Okay, selling it, transferring it, creating that inheritance, of course, or winding it down, maybe your opportunity as well. What we don't necessarily want at an exit is an unplanned one. That's death or incapacity to run the business. That's divorce, personal crisis, or business failure or bankruptcy. Typically, we want to exit on our terms or your terms. We don't want to get caught unaware by any of these consequences of the business set up incorrectly. So we ask you to choose door number 1, and that's the plan for you, okay? To exit in your own terminology, in your own time. That's what we call the platinum principle. So then you can sell it, you can transfer it, it can be inherited or closed very easily. It's a whole different kind of process, right? So we want to create that in terms of setting up the ability to minimize taxation. If we're all in the capitalist idea here, minimizing taxation is not a bad thing. I'm saying it out loud. Okay, don't kill me, burn me in effigy. We want to maximize protection of the business for intellectual property, fraud claims, or other issues like that. We want to run it independently as much as possible. A phrase around we say a lot around here is keep it all and keep it small. We want to run it profitably. We want to pay ourselves, make sure employees, staff, VAs, etc., can stay employed with us. And of course, we're creating a great brand with good profit margins, giving us the ability to be scalable in this business model, to be in a position where we can continue to grow and meet the demand of the customers who want our products from us. All right. So we want to focus on what kinds of business buyers want, how to make that business attractive, and why we're going or what we're going to sell, things like the business, the account, the brand, the product line, or whether or not you're just going to sell a single business. Okay. So what do business buyers actually want when considering this starting now? Some of you are in the phase of building. Some of you might want to restructure and reorganize a little bit. Some of you are thinking about launching a business and kind of want to know, how do I get off on the right foot? So what do buyers want from these kinds of businesses and brands? They want profitability, number 1. As I'm going to invest in a business or due diligence against a business, I'm going to look first at the profitability. It tells me how well the business is being run, from the management structure to capital management to management operations. Very big, important things there, okay? Scalability, is there opportunity to grow this? What have been the limiting factors of this particular brand? Is it just capitalization? Is it management knowledge? Is it optimization and operational efficiencies? Are those missing from this business? I'm going to evaluate those. What's the upside potential of this? Is there a longer term exit? Can I see somewhere where either in my network or in the space that this particular brand is in, that I could reach an exit potential with another or larger brand? Operational independence. Do they have the ability to stay pretty free in their operations? Are they locked into long-term contracts we might have to get out of? Are they in nonsensical contracts they shouldn't be in? These are operational independence guidelines buyers want to look at. Protection from liability. Are you running too close to another product whose brand line could potentially get a claim against you or even a trademark infringement? Is it so close that there's a bit of danger? Maybe it's fine right now and no one's ever touched it, but we've seen those things come back later as you start to scale and grow and take over market share. Guess what? People start to feel you're more of a threat, as they were not currently thinking you were a threat in the past. They may come in and say, hey, I bet we could just lock them down, make them go through an IP claim or even an infringement claim and just hose up their business. Even if it doesn't match, we can just take them out, right? So we want to make sure there's protection for liability in that way. No single points of failure. Very important to understand. If one single vendor, one single manufacturer, one single supply chain, one single product type in the business, it's making up 80% of the revenues. Those are considered single points of failure. We don't want to see those in a business model. We certainly don't want to see seasonal businesses that are not making money over 6 months, but then make it all back in the next 6 months. Business buyers don't want to see that. So if you have a business like that, you need to add additional products and cover a more even line revenue metric profitability across a 12-month annual run rate, okay? Customer data. Have you done anything to grab any kind of customer data, even from Amazon, within the terms of service? There are other ways that you can do it. I'm sure you guys know this. Some of your sellers here probably learn about that. But there are other ways to get some of the customer data without violating Amazon's terms of service. Have you made any inroads into doing that? Do you have any of that data? If you are able to get it from an outside channel, Shopify, WordPress, or other type of e-com store, if you're able to get it through influencers, name, email, address, phone, that's all very good data that buyers do want to see when it comes to things like profitability, scalability, and upside potential. The transition plan. Have you even thought, how am I going to exit this? Because it's pretty difficult if you're the main breadwinner, this is your business. Maybe your wife or husband are not involved in running the business, but all of a sudden something happens to you. Are they capable of even stepping in and understanding what to do? Do they know the contacts, the names, the list, the negotiations, the contracts do they know, and who knows that? If you're the only one holding that, you have become a significantly risk to the buyers, big risk. And we're going to look and see what's the transition plan for you. Okay. So this is kind of the biggest things that buyers are looking at. Hopefully you guys, is that all clear as we keep going here? Just make sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Seems like a lot, right? But let's break it down. What is good profitability from a business buyer? What is the Platinum Principle showing as intentions of buyers and buyers in our networks, things that we do diligence on ourselves as we acquire? We're looking for 18 to 20% net profit, okay? Or a clear path through operational changes, efficiencies, management, or capitalization to get to that 18 to 20% net profit. That's typically a minimum we will see. That will be in businesses between 500 to a million or more in revenues. We want to see that percentage of profit margin on those businesses or the potential to get there. Accounting and taxes must be handled professionally. Cash and accrual, CFO, CPA, bookkeeper. You're going to need to have these things. If it's just you pushing the buttons on a spreadsheet, that's not going to cut it. You're going to need to have a chart of accounts, an actual firm looking over your business, somebody doing the bookkeeping, and a good chart of accounts is to support your cash or accrual basis, depending upon how you want to handle that. No commingled or tangled or other entanglements within the business between accounts. That offers risks and can damage the profitability of the business at sale. And debt retired upon sale. If you have outstanding debts, liabilities you're paying on a loan, personal loan, professional loan, cabbage loan, Amazon loan, all of those things are going to be considered as part of that profitability at sale. Okay, so can the debt be retired at the time of sale as part of the deal, or are there other constraints contractually or otherwise causing that to become a problem at the time of sale? Okay, so we're looking at growth potential. That's things like suppliers, supply sales channels, corporate structure. Do you have employees, virtual assistants? How's your management structure set up? Do you have any SOPs in place? Is anybody setting under KPIs? Do you have a health share plan or something in place? Like, what are the complexities? How difficult is it for us to scale that? How much of that do we have to take on, and how much can we just fit into our existing operations should we acquire this business, right? So those are going to be things that the more flexible you are, the more simplistic you operate this, the easier it is for a buyer to jump into that business and not, again, feel like it's a job or something they have to work through in order to secure it. Big deals, okay? So that creates upside potential, all right? Top line sales increases, bottom line profit increases, customer base increases, and of course, demand of your products in the marketplace show the potential of upside. Is there bigger market share that you could generate in Amazon for your product brand lines? Is there a greater market share in retail, wholesale? Can we reach them through radio, television, newspapers, infomercials? Is all of that a potential for this type of product? Would it support that kind of growth? Could it reach that kind of mass market? That's what upside potential ultimately means. If not, what are the limiting factors that cause us to have a problem with that? Could it be capital and financing? Because we find many business owners at this point have capital and financing issues as one of their predominant problems. Sure, I'd like to launch more products. Sure, I'd like to do this, but I can't get a larger credit line. I can't flex this credit. Many times, and quite transparent and honestly, it's because the owners are taking too much of the money and not reinvesting the profits back in the growth of the business. That should be something that you should make sure you consider to grow and regrow the business, because the buyers, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at how we handle that in the transition, and that could lower the amount of return you get for the business if you have not done that properly. Okay. If we see that a lot of the business capital and growth is stagnated by you, we're going to consider that a poor management decision. Okay. So what kind of contracts or open doors are currently setting there that might limit the upside potential of that business? We're going to consider those too. If you don't have to put those in place, don't. If you do have them in place, make sure they're strong, well documented, and have a very strong purpose to the revenue or profits of the business. Otherwise, don't sign them. So operational independence, who manages the business? If it's you, who's going to replace you when you're gone? A little bit of what I touched on a minute ago. If it is you, are we buying a job? Talked about that a second ago. So this is where operational independence breaks in. Can the people, can I step in with easy oversight without necessarily even having daily oversight to the business operations? That may not sound right to you right now, but the way we run our businesses, we don't need necessarily daily oversight in everything that we do. Do you have that set up? If you don't, what kind of training would be needed in order to allow that to occur? Can you transfer your applied knowledge? How long is that going to take, right? Because I have some people that talk to me about their businesses and they're like, well, there's nobody understands my business and they don't understand it. No, wrong. You've already overcomplicated and turned me off, right? because we know what kind of businesses these are and how they can be run. So the other component we talked a minute ago, and let's break it down a little bit deeper, liability protection. What's the corporate structure like? Is it set up for liabilities? Are you structuring it correctly? Are you, again, accounting for it correctly? Are the owners protected within that business structure that you've stated and set up correctly? If none of this makes sense, please contact a tax accountant or attorney and figure out how to set that up correctly. I only play one on the internet, so I won't go any farther than to give you that. Just make sure that you need to be owner protected, okay, in that way. What's the risk of liability from previous products or sales that could come back to haunt you? They need to be shut down correctly. You need to ensure there's no liability or touch points to those. Even if you shut them off and not selling them anymore, ensure there's no liabilities hiding out in the closet. That's liability protection, okay? Everybody still with me?
Oh, yeah.
Hanging on, or am I boring you yet?
No, this is good stuff.
All right. Single points of failure. Do you have redundancy in all the major areas? Suppliers, sales channels, software and data, and personnel. If none of those things have single secondary fall over, you have a single point of failure in your business. Okay. So you need to look at how you structure that into overcoming those objections. If you do not have secondary suppliers or even a tertiary supplier backed up, we're going to consider that a liability or a potential point of failure. You should too, as a business owner, right? We don't want to necessarily have to establish those relationships. The business should come with them. If we can add them into our current sourcing agents or manufacturing supply chains as a redundancy, we will see that as an opportunity. But if you currently are manufacturing something that's not within our current manufacturing capability, we will see that as a point of failure, okay? So sales channels, do you have more than Amazon? I know this sounds weird because we've been talking a lot about Amazon, but at least if you have something outside on Walmart, eBay, Etsy, other marketplaces like that, if you've got a Shopify store, even if it's not taking on massive revenue, it's not that you shouldn't do these things, it's when you should do them, okay? Because I think what happens is, and we have a saying here in the country, you can't ride two horses with one ass. So you are going to ride this, excuse me, I don't know if I could cuss on this, sorry.
You can.
Okay, bleep, bleep, bleep. And that's a donkey because I live in the country. You can't. And so we're riding the Amazon horse right now. But if you're not taking all the profits, then you should be using the profits to hire vendors who will take you out to those other channels. If you need the time and energy, you should be buying mentorship to help you open those channels. If not, you should be looking at the right timing to move profits into additional channels, keeping your single points of failure low. It's not just the opportunity of sales, it's also the single point of failure component. We look at those as higher profile businesses with more opportunity and more upside. The last one is, of course, the second to last one, software and data. Are you doing more than just one data point? You can't just trust a single tool for all data. You need to look at the differences. When I go to Jungle Scout, Helium 10, or even Phoenix, I see some discrepancies in the data. How can one product have 3 different metrics? How is that even possible? So you need to look at some kind of averages and determine what's going on. I personally, for me, happen to trust the Phoenix data set because we built the algorithm and it's based on our own sales. So I trust that. Now, I don't know what Jungle Scout and Helium 10 are doing, but some people trust their data too. At the end of the day, if you know your customer and your data is within some median variation, 5 to 7% difference, then you're really close to over the target. But again, we talked about tools being an enabler and technology as an enablement. Do not use them as your only reliance point. Have multiple tools and data. Look at the differentiations between the two. Consider those variances and then go out to market with your best foot forward, okay? Personnel differentiation. Do you need employees? No. Had 12 employees, 20,000 square foot warehouse, running wholesale trucks in our little foray down that road. Don't do that. I'll say that. We shut the whole thing down. That was a big wrong move. It was a diversification opportunity that turned into a shut it down. Holy crap. So if you have employees, how are you handling it? There's a personnel redundant. Do you have an operations manager? Could an operations manager be a contractor who is not an employee? Absolutely. If we incentivize them and KPI them with their key performance indicators correctly, they don't need to be hired. They can be on performance. If they're bought into some component of the business, even at the common stock level, but not the ownership level. I know I'm getting a little more advanced here, forgive me. But if they're not on the operating agreement or necessarily sharing in the ownership of the business, but they do have a profit and proceed incentive based on their KPIs as part of the growth, you can attract people who are performance driven in that way, and they can become redundancies at time of handoff. If you don't have any other solutions, we have a solution just to throw out there, no sales pitch, but it literally has to do with full management, removing the owner before the business goes to market on this end versus trying to remove the owner after time of sale or time of going to sale. which is kind of the inverse. We've kind of innovated the other direction. Remove the owner prior to going to sale. Makes it much easier for the buyer to get involved, right? So consider those as single points of failure. Customer data. Do you have any lists, contact information? If you tried to get it, the phrase online is the money is in the list. And there's so much truth to that. The money is in your list. Email, customer data, direct mailing. You might not even know this, but the fastest, highest buying demographic on direct mail, which by the way is like a 25-year plus direct response marketing, yet nobody really understands its applicability to e-commerce. But keep this in mind, and you can go look this stat up. Okay, the highest buying demographical group for direct mail right now. Do you guys happen to know what it is?
Nope.
Millennials, 18 to 35. Why?
Shocking.
Because they actually trust it. Because they're not online looking at all the data they spent their entire life being hammered by. So they actually enjoy getting something that most people don't get now for real, and that's mail. So they like to go get the mail, they open it, and they buy from the mail. They're the fastest, highest demographic of buyers right now. 74% said they'd rather buy from direct mail than online. Go look it up. It's amazing. So the money is in the list. Getting their information and getting them into front of your product through direct mail sounds hokey, but guess what? It works. Amazon won't give that to you. You can take it within the terms of service. That's as far as I'll leave that. Do not do anything to jeopardize your account. And I am not telling you to do anything to jeopardize your account, just very clearly. Okay, leaving that out there on the table. So again, transition plan. We got a few more of these guys, then we'll let it go. So transition plan and handoff. How are you going to set this up correctly? And if not you, who will set this up? The bad thing to do is burden it on your family, friends, or others. Should something occur to you, you can't just assume that they're going to step in and be able to do this. All right. Would you be willing to stay into it for up to a year at time of transition? Because that's a real possibility at time of transition for sale. Do you understand how to apply and teach those people how to run your business? If you have not trained anybody on how to do it now, and they are not currently in a capacity to take it over, you're going to find that very difficult to do and frustrating and stressful at the time you're trying to sell it. And remember, people typically sell for the wrong reasons that I listed earlier. Instead of selling on the way up, they typically sell out of desperation on the way down. Please don't do that. Really consider the difference, okay? If your team is willing to stay in the business, all right, they may want to stay. They may not want to stay with you. We've had it where businesses are like, I'm going to sell this company and my whole team's going with me. They don't want to be sold with the business. So they're going to transition. That's understood. It's upfront. Cool. What's the transition plan? How do you plan to mitigate this with us, right? Will they train their replacements? Are we training your replacements? What are the key people and the key roles that need to be in there? Very important to understand how that's set up. If you think about it with the end in mind, you will have all that in place long before it happens. Okay. So in other words, your business needs to be scalable, right? You need to think about it from the buyer's perspective. Very important differentiation we talked about. What is better for the buyer and what is better for the offer? If it's not saleable yet, how to get solid financial advice, how to get solid legal advice, how to build up a structure of systems and accounting and P&L, how to grow and prepare for a business. If you need experience or need experience help with this, please let us know. We can do that. All right. So how will you know? You'll know in advance when buyers are looking for, because you're going to see it in your business. You're going to see it in your growth. You're going to see it in the market and competition around you. Build your business to meet their expectations. I see so many people trying to be the sexy salmon floating upstream, but you don't realize there's always a bear waiting for that salmon. It's okay, again, to be number two. We talked about that the other day, right? Stack insane value in your business. And so you will approach the right buyers who want to see this and see the value in it, okay? You can get a big list of buyers to your door in like no time flat, okay? And remember, there are billions of dollars in the marketplace looking for these opportunities. 2018, 2.2, 2.4x. On the profit called EBITDA in your business, earnings before income taxes and appreciation. So when you have that profit, it was worth 2.2, 2.4. It's now worth 3.8, 4.0 for those same businesses. Okay, that's how fast this is transitioning, right? There are billions of dollars out there looking to buy these companies, buy these brands, okay? There are buyers standing at the ready to do this. If you know what you need to do with the end in mind, you can start running some of these things in parallel while presenting your business opportunity to be sold later. If you need some help, get some qualified help. It can save a ton of time and money making the wrong mistakes, trying to put those things together. That's what these guys are here for. That's why this podcast is occurring, right? Understand how to set up the structure and systems of your business so you'll have bigger windfalls in the end. All right. So if you're serious, talk with us if you want about your exit strategy. If you want to spend more time working on your business than in it with your systems, structures, processes, implementing best practices, growth, scalability, and salability of your business. We want you to be thinking like an owner. We want you to be thinking like a CEO. We want to help you gain that opportunity if you're willing to talk about it. Because remember, if your exit strategy is your business strategy, that's probably one of the greatest secrets about this business that nobody's revealing. So guys, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure. And I've been honored to speak with you guys for the last week. It's been fun.
Oh my gosh. This has been, this has been really, really fun for Chris and I. And I know it's been super valuable for everyone who's listening. I mean, I've got a couple of questions on this that we
absolutely
and then I'd love I want to definitely give you the opportunity to let everybody know how to get in touch with you and your team if they want to work with you. I mean, we talked about this before we came on, but this has been almost a mini course on how to on every step of your business in a different mindset than is normally out there. This is like treating this as launching a true, real business. And you can see just from what you talked about here, just the steps in preparation. And I'll be honest, this is why I've got questions, because until about a year ago, I went through every possible phase of mentality on my business. It was a side hustle. It was cool because I could buy all kinds of new things. I had this money coming in on the side that I was kind of shocked that it was able to do that. Then it turned into a full-time business where and then I was in it. It owned me.
Yeah.
And then it slipped. And then I dealt with some different difficulties. And now I'm in a totally different mindset now when you see all the, like, this exiting. And so I've got my business is loaded with little nuggets of mistakes along the way, growing it like this. But this refocus now of let's get it, because it's an asset that's ready to sell. So it's fascinating to me that if I was starting now today, that would be all I think about is let's work our way straight from the end backwards and get there, just like you're talking about. So when somebody is starting right now, if they are starting, how important is it to get because some of this stuff is not cheap. I mean, incorporating and bringing on all the stuff you're talking about and all that. How important is it from the get-go to do all of that? Or is it okay to do it to get the right steps in as you grow?
There are certain components of it that you need to do correctly now, especially with the way Amazon's changing its new seller account policies, how to get the account set up, structuring your brand correctly. And really attacking the market with your best foot forward, which would be to have your brand established, to be registered and have your brand trademarked, to go in the market and know that if your competition sees you, they know you're coming in pretty serious, and it's going to be hard for them to deal with you because they're looking for the competition, and you should too. That's a little easier to knock off that doesn't really know what they're doing. And we're looking at this again in an 80-20. I'm talking to mostly the 20% right now who understand that building this business with the end in mind is what serious sellers are actually doing in the marketplace, who are taking advantage of the true opportunity that is brand building with e-commerce. We just happen to use the Amazon channel as the incubator, the test market, the first place to go to business on this product, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about that, then you already have the end in mind, which is going into multiple channels, building existing brand, building customer data, and of course, creating intrinsic value in your business to have it for sale. So we start very succinctly at the beginning with understanding the business, the management, and the structure, and setting this up correctly from day one, so that you can work somewhat imperfectly through that process. But there are certain things that have to be done correctly at the beginning. And that's where the differentiation between a side hustle or a hobby now looks like a business. And it now looks like, well, I may be working on this for the next 6 to 12 months, but that's nothing if I'm still selling this business in 5+ years. Mm-hmm. Right? That's a whole different way of viewing this. And it is a mindset thing at the end of the day, right? Because you can go do the wholesale, retail, arbitrage, all that other stuff. And if that's your mindset, that's your goal, that's what you want to get started on, more power to you. Just be careful, because the terms of service become very strict with people who are doing that, and you can get shut down very, very quickly. I personally have heard from an inside rep, 425,000 of those accounts were shut down last year. Okay. About 4 times more until recently they had shut down of those accounts versus any branded accounts that are obviously working within the terms of service correctly. So it is important to get those in place. Now, from a startup cost, you did mention that. it can be a little bit more expensive. And that's sort of both the limiting factor to this opportunity, but also how it creates a very unique opportunity for those who want to play in this market, who are serious about building a business. Those who are serious about building a business realize I'm not going to make $1 million in a month. I'm not going to get rich in even 3 or 5 months. But if I'm setting up multiple streams of brand revenue in 3 to 5 years, I could easily retire. And that's a different type of mindset coming to market with these businesses. And frankly, that's where Amazon's opportunity is still huge, blue sky, evergreen. It really is. You're going to go in and compete on a brand. Absolutely, you're going to dominate in that way. And one final word on that, we do create sort of an incubator for this business model. And that is when people come in, we give them all the resources, sourcing agents, technology, access to our accountants, bookkeeping. The whole thing is setting right there for them to just check the boxes off without any question. They're running my businesses, my client accounts. They're doing 8 figures in business with us already. They know how to start a business up really quickly. So they come in and are basically incubated by us during that startup phase to go through every one of those things correctly and get them all set up. And because we do it in a distributed shared services format, it's a lot less cost, a lot less cost. My sourcing listing lady that does all the graphics and images for everybody who comes in works directly for us. And she's like, $200 for a whole listing stack. And she does a very, very professional listing stack for all of our products and all of our clients, because you could go out and pay $1,000 for what she does for $200. So we have different ways of diversifying as part of our incubator and making it cheaper, faster, and easier.
Amazing.
This
Chris,
is good.
questions.
Yeah, this is all stuff that you don't think about until the time comes. Like you don't think about needing a backup supplier until your general supplier cuts you off.
So you run into a problem.
Yeah.
Panic time. Find another supplier.
Yeah. And like the SOPs, that's an area I think a lot of people they keep doing themselves. But if they would just make a video or a Loom video of it or whatever, record the process, pass it off to a VA. Now you got that in your grasp, and you can always pass it on to somebody else.
Key objective for this role, and then just 3 key tasks that role needs to accomplish with performance and KPIs attached to the growth. Have them help it define with you in terms of what their role is going to be: customer support rep, product rep, sourcing agent. Define them very clearly, make them pretty succinct, but get them involved and then mature them as you go along. It's more important to get those in place imperfectly, and then something perfect will happen along the way, right?
Mm-hmm. Besides margin and revenue, what's one really good, like, yes, I'm glad this guy's got it when you buy an account? Like when you're looking to acquire a brand, revenue obviously is going to be good. Margin is going to be one of the most important things. But if an account has something that is like, that makes you go crazy for it, what is that?
Typically a brand that is not currently being seen in its maturity, scalability, or mass market appeal that the owner simply does not recognize.
I was going to ask about this because I think this is a question for selling. Obviously, if you've plateaued, then there's no upside for the buyer. But I'm wondering, like, if I came to you and I had a product that just dominated in the U.S. marketplace, but you just knew, hey, if this opened up in Europe and Australia and Canada, and if we went international with this, it's an easy win. Is that a better value or a less value for the buyer? And is it about who's benefiting in that? Should the seller have already done that, or what?
So for most buyers, they're going to look at multiple markets as more difficulty in transition. I'm going to look at somebody's ability to attack one market very strong and not have to deal with the operational logistics components of them trying to have 3 other markets outside of the U.S. So predominantly the U.S. backed up supply chains and infrastructure. If they have a UK presence and a warehouse over there and all that stuff, typically my buyers are going to say, I'm really not interested in that because it creates too much complexity. When you say, well, how is that possible to diversify? How can we make more money or scale if we don't go into other markets? And that's just one of the things we've learned in 8 years is not a way to scale the business. You don't have to go to the other markets and create complexity. I'm going to go back to that saying a minute ago about you can't ride 2 horses with one ass and say that is basically an immature response to the market opportunity people are missing when they don't see it the way we do. Inside, if you have a product and a SKU that's been selling and you're dominating, if you say you've already taken up all the market and niche for that product, you do not understand what we're talking about. because that product will come in and we will see exactly how to diversify that product brand line into 5, 10, 50, 100 other SKUs. And we will go in and just blow that up.
That's interesting. That really is interesting. And so that goes into my next, maybe last question. We'll see here. But, and this is a question from me personally. And I'm curious what you say. If you were to launch a new brand or a new product, would you completely start everything, a new account, a new company, a new corporation, or would you launch that brand in your account that you're running right now?
Yes and no. Let's talk about the two different reasons why that could potentially fit the answer, depending upon which direction you want it to go. If current count brand business is something you're thinking about moving to sale at some point, and new product, new brand line is something that doesn't match up with that one, it's not even in the same niche, and it's something that you're wanting to diversify in, then I would open another account. If it's a new brand that is complementary or in the same niche as the original, I would open it under the main seller account that you're currently working on right now. Again, keeping it simple, stupid. How much do you want to spend doing different time and activities? And you got to be very careful about how you open those accounts so that you can get permission, of course, to do that, and you can. But you have to make sure you do that the right way. So again, it's a bit of a strategy as to which direction you ultimately want to go, as to which one of those things makes the most sense.
Interesting. Because I've always wondered about that in the eyes of a buyer. Like if I had an account that had 4 established brands in one account, is that more valuable, or is that more work, or is that more complexity?
Well, here's the question. Are all those brands in, say, one niche, or is one in outdoor, one in home, one in kitchen and supply? Are they all different?
Yeah, potentially they'd all be different. Yeah.
Okay. Then a general store would typically be valued a little bit less than a niche store that has a whole product brand line in it, or even multiple brands supporting that same product brand line.
That's really good to know.
Now, you could sell off those brands, or you could sell the whole business.
Got it.
The opportunities are endless, you're saying?
Pretty much. Yeah. It's what's beautiful about business. It's creativity. And it's basically kind of comes down to how you want to approach it. For example, if I had 3 or 4 brands in a single account, one of them was dominating the other 3, I would liquidate the other 3 for capital and then expand the one.
Got it.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
That might be in a situation that
you might be in that situation.
I might be in that situation.
You might be in that situation.
In terms of one of my main brands that I started with, I have issues, and you touched on it. Trademark. I was in an IP battle, big time, with a major company.
Then it may make sense to move you just 2 millimeters over to the right.
Yep.
Like we talked about, and then move you into a separate brand strategy to kind of get you just away from, while still staying there, but not staying there, if that makes sense.
That's why I've had so much fun with this entire conversation.
Yeah,
there's a lot to this, and some people may be like, like
that's their loss.
Glossing over.
Once you get in, I feel like you could lay out. You could give somebody all the tools and say, here's do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Here's how you start your business.
Sure.
And once you get into it, you're going to come up against some kind of wall that was unexpected.
The difference in mentorship versus a course, right? A course is going to teach you how to learn. A mentor is going to teach you how to adapt and grow and see opportunities in all the variations of experiences that come once you reach a certain level. No course or learning can actually teach you that from end to end, right?
That's big right there. That's big, Neil.
It is big.
People will do a course and then they're like, well, I don't know what to do next. Well, now you need a mentor is what you really need. You're
going to level up past a certain point. You need a mentor. And some people want that at the very beginning. Some want that later. Some think there's nothing new to learn. Hey, more power to you, right? You can fail big and fail expensive. Go for it. But at the end of the day, I've never leveled up in my business without a direct mentor who knew and had experience in the area I went to focus on and wanted to learn. It's why I pay $25,000 a year to do different mentors right now, so that I can learn about their specific areas of experience and focus and become better at it. I don't need to learn those lessons anymore. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars making mistakes in the past that I don't plan to do again.
Yeah, me either.
That's something Chris and I talk about all the time. From the day we started this podcast, we've I don't know, 10x our knowledge of our own business just from
2x. I thought it was 2x. You go to 10.
Yeah, 2x.
No.
2x. 2x.
10x, just the knowledge, just talking to people like you, and just bouncing ideas off each other. This is great. This has been a phenomenal series. Anybody who's listening to this, if you're catching this one, you need to go through and listen to 1 through 5, and then do it again and then again. There was a lot that Neil laid out. I mean, there's so much. And then once you get through that, you're probably going to want to work with Neil. So Neil,
yes, sir.
Tell them, everybody, you got the floor. How do people get in touch with you? What you're offering? Let everybody know.
Yep. If you're coursing through life, as we like to call it here, but you'd really like to level up and you want some mentorship to understand the nuances and differences between what it gets, 7 gets to multi-7 to gets to 8. There are many nuances that a mentor can help you through. If you're serious about taking that to the next level, I'd encourage you to go ahead and contact me, have a no pitch, no obligation conversation to see if we're a good fit. We usually work with around 10 people only. Everyone is interviewed. There has to be a good fit for the goals and objectives that are mutually being met. If that sounds like something to you and you would like to learn a little bit more about how we're scaling and growing brands, we're exiting as a strategy under the Platinum Principle, head over to voltagedm.com. Take out the video that's there that explains it's a 90-minute no pitch training. If you enjoyed what we did here today, you'll understand I don't do pitching most of the time. I feel like I'm pitching right now. I'm trying not to, so forgive me. But there's a 90-minute video to go check out. It really explains a lot about our business builders and what we're doing and who we're looking for. If it makes sense and you're serious about having a conversation, there's a personal text number. Just send me Celazo on the text message there. It does reach me personally. I do talk to each person, again, because I qualify every person and I disqualify way more people than I qualify, because again, I don't need to mentor people. I like to mentor people. We enjoy it in our business model. And of course, if we can help you build a CEO relationship with your business that gives you an exit potential, we will all win in the end. And there's my big evil capitalistic agenda, right?
I love it. Anybody who's in a position right now where they're looking for this, I encourage you, go check out Neil, get in touch with them.
I appreciate it, guys.
We might be on there.
Get on the list. I don't know. I don't know if I want to accept you guys. You sound.
Yeah, that's right. I know.
You sound a little sketchy. I don't know. We'll see.
No, I wouldn't accept us. No,
I wouldn't accept you either.
We're not good.
Actually, you sound like you're sitting on gold mines. Just waiting to hit some dynamite.
Well, this whole thing it's not a short-term thing. Like, you can't just sell a business. Like, you got to think if you're going to sell your business, now's the time to think about it so you could sell it in a year or something.
12, 18 months minimum run rate, annual run rate, plus time and market, plus brand affinity, plus profitability. Those metrics have to be met in order to sustain. And of course, all the things we talked about today as you go through the bullet points. But yeah, it does take some time, and any good business does, right?
So good. We are going to get you on in the future.
Cool. That'll be fun to come back.
This is our first time doing a 5-part series, and it was really fun.
Yeah, the bar is high now.
The bar is high. Yeah.
I don't know because I am honored. I appreciate your faith in me and my business and having me on to your show. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's been great. We really appreciate you, Neil. Everybody, make sure you go through it again. Neil put all those spreadsheets. They're in the notes on the podcast. They're in the comments or in the notes on the on Facebook or YouTube as well. You can get all that. You got to check it out. It's been amazing. Everybody, if you love content like this, Chris and I do this almost every single day. Fortunately for us, we've had Neil the last 5 days, which has been fantastic. But we go live every single day. So make sure you go to Celozo's Facebook page, like it, subscribe to it, turn on notifications. Same thing with Celozo's YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. All these videos go out there. We also put out a bunch of other content around the Amazon space. Celozo has an unbelievable support team where they're putting out a great series, pro seller series, where they're going into detail on things, especially about your advertising campaigns. Check all that out. And obviously, subscribe to our podcast on whatever podcast platform you're listening to them on. We're on all of them. Thanks for tuning in. Neil, thanks for joining us. And we'll be back at this again on Monday. See you guys.